You tapping in real quick for this UFC fight night that's fitting to take place Saturday evening, where that main event is a showdown in the welterweight division between a crafty, OG, UFC veteran and a hot, on-the-rise prospect. We are back in the apex for this one. Who will that smaller cage be a benefit to on Saturday, and who will that smaller cage be a disadvantage to? That is to be determined. I do appreciate y'all for tapping in. This video right here, this is the final talks, man. The final answer, the final lap. Call it what you will. We fitting to run through this motherfucker from bottom to top. One more again. You know what I'm talking about? And I'll do my best is not to hold y'all ear hostage for too long. We've already been through this before. You know what I'm talking about? But it is what it is, man. Let's go ahead and dive into it. And again, not necessarily sure what that lineup's going to be come fight night, but this is very much so the one I have in front of me. So it is the one that we are rocking with. You know what I'm talking about? And that first fight of the night, that is women's MMA. It is a complete pass for me. I want absolutely nothing to do with this fight in any way, shape, form, or fashion. We have Melissa, currently a minus 260 favorite on the money line, leaving Claudia a plus 195 underdog. And it is what it is, man. I want nothing to do with this fight. It's a complete pass, unless we're talking about possibly a haymaker or a Hail Mary for the prelims, trying to sweep the prelims or trying to sweep the whole card. Other than that, I want no parts of this fight. And for the sake of a pick, I am on the side of a dog, because if you're going to give me this level of mixed martial arts, where I personally believe it should be a minus 110 pick 'em on the money line, due to the fact that neither one of them have really been up against or tested by a legitimate level of, opposition as of yet. What the fuck are we arguing their statistics about? You understand what I'm saying to you? It's a lot of proving grounds to be covered for both of these young women, man. And if you're going to give me one of them with a plus 195 dog tag next to their name, I'll take it, man. I'll take it. At this level of mixed martial arts, you can give me the dog. Neither one of them have been tested or up against a legitimate high level of opposition as of yet in any way, shape, form, or fashion for us to be arguing their statistics or for us to be putting a minus 260 favorite, money line next to either one of them. You know what I'm talking about? So give me the dog. But I don't want anything to do with this fight at all. Second fight of the night. Another fight I don't want anything to do with at all. In any way, shape, form, or fashion. Unless we're talking about a haymaker or a Hail Mary for the prelims or the whole card. You understand what I'm saying to you? Other than that, no parts of this fight. It's Trayshawn at minus 180 on the money line to Antonio's plus 145. Dog tag on the money line. And again, at this level of mixed martial arts, you can give me the one who happens to be the dog, who also happens to be the one with a bit more experience under his belt. You understand what I'm saying to you? It is what it is. Trayshawn is not an individual that I am high on in any way, shape, form, or fashion, and you can miss me with his one win over Josh Frem. You understand what I'm saying to you as far as his wins in the UFC are concerned? It just is what it is. And again, at this level of mixed martial arts, man, Trayshawn, just miss me with it, man. I know he's been in there with Jack, you know what I mean? I know he's been in there with a couple individuals, but miss me with all of that, man. Antonio has the reach. Antonio has the height. Antonio has a, bit of experience. And I'll take those physical attributes as well as the experience at this level of mixed martial arts with a plus 145 dog tag next to it. You understand what I'm saying to you? I do not have... There's no high level of interest. There's no level of interest in these first two fights as far as and there's no level of interest in these first three fights for me. You understand what I'm saying to you? With the second fight being, I don't know how to pronounce either one of these individuals' names, man. CR versus GB. And honestly, I wanted to just take all dog. I'm not doing no pick switching, you know what I mean? I'm going to stick with CR. He was a minus 175 favorite on the money line when I wrote this down. I believe he's currently minus 200, maybe minus 225. Who the fuck knows? You know what I'm talking about? But he's going up against GB, who's currently a plus 140 underdog. And at this level of mixed martial arts, I initially should have just took the dog again. You understand what I'm saying to you? And when I first did my original video, I said I could make a case for taking all 3 dogs in these first 3 fights, man. You know what I mean? And I feel like the fucking dog might actually bark in this fight, man. You know what I mean? Why I want absolutely nothing to do with it. It is a complete pass. CR, I don't know how to pronounce. Y'all know who I'm talking about based off the initials. You know what I mean? Both of them are motherfucking fresh. They both green in this UFC, on this, UFC scene. But CR is a minus 175. I believe he's over the minus 200 line now against GB's plus 140. And I'm not mad at anybody jumping on Gatson or however you say GB's. I'm not mad at anybody jumping on that price tag, which is probably a bit better now, plus 155 or 165 or something like that, with old boy being over the minus 200 line. You know what I mean? I'm sticking with my picks because I'm not doing that pick switch shit no more moving forward. I said that last week. I'll just properly prepare myself parlay-wise to be on the, opposite side of some of these picks that are sketchy as shit. You know what I'm talking about? But again, that's only when we're talking about for the prelims, trying to sweep the prelims or haymakers or Hail Marys. Nowhere near the main bets, nowhere near dog plays, nowhere near anything in any way, shape, form, or fashion that has anything to do with my main bets or parlays. You know what I'm talking about? Fuck these first 3 fights. And however they scatter these 3 fights, if this ain't the way the cards lined up, fuck these 3 fights wherever they're at on the card. You know what I'm talking about? God. I ain't mad at anybody who's on the dog side of GB at plus 140, because I could see me being on the dog side of motherfucking Claudio, Antonio, and GB. Because at this level of mixed martial arts, give me the fucking dog tag. You know what I mean? Make me a believer, because there's a lot of proven grounds to still be covered, and nobody's been up against a legitimate level of opposition for us to be arguing shit as far as statistics are concerned. You know what I mean? Redundant enough. My bad. I'm done. You know what I'm talking about? But fuck them first 3 fights. Now let's talk about some shit, man. Huh? Cody versus Damon. Cody's was a plus 190 underdog to Damon's minus 250. Damon's close to 300 now, I believe. So Cody's got a bit more of a sizable dog tag next to his name. The pick is still Damon Blackshear, though. You know what I mean? A couple people have tapped in, and it's Damon Blackshear with, a high amount of confidence, man. He's one of my locks this week, man. People have asked me about his last showing where he got knocked out for the very first time, but anybody who was tapped in prior to that fight taking place over here in the doghouse already knows how I felt about that fight. Styles make matchups, and Montel Jackson was a very bad stylistic matchup for Damon Blackshear, and I told absolutely everybody who tapped in what Montel was going to do to him, man. He was going to get him the fuck up out of there inside the distance via KO, TKO, from clipping and disconnecting him from his consciousness, or if it went the full 15 minutes, he was going to hurt that man multiple times over the course of 15 minutes if it went the distance, which it didn't, because he clipped him and got him out of there. You understand what I'm saying to you? Styles make matchups, and Cody is not Montel Jackson. You understand what I'm saying to you? And it just is what it is, man. This is a very bad stylistic matchup for Cody, in my personal opinion. Why I'm so high on the Damon side. I haven't really been on the wrong side of Damon, if I'm not mistaken. You know what I'm talking about? Because I was on that right side with Montel, you know what I mean? And I've pretty much been on the right side with this guy, if I'm not mistaken, for the most part, man. Maybe I've found myself on the wrong side once before, but I'm not necessarily sure that that's the case, man. And I don't think that's going to be the case this coming weekend. You know what I'm talking about? I've been able to read Damon relatively good going into his matchups. You know what I'm talking about? As far as being on the right side of those matchups. And I think this is a bad stylistic matchup for Cody, and a very good bounce back position for Damon. For as tough as Cody is, to possibly find a finish inside the distance. But definitely to win via unanimous decision, 2 rounds to 1. This is where the fight card gets a little bit better, man. And they sprinkle some back up in this motherfucker. But we starting to move now. The temperature's turning up. You know what I mean? Damon's the pick. I don't like the money line, but it is what it is. At least he's not minus 400, minus 500, or anything over that. We can still bet and parlay this motherfucker. You know what I'm talking about? So, first fight I like. Cody versus Damon. and demise the pick. You know what I'm talking about? Now, Charles, minus 170 on the money line to Matthew, plus 135. Dog tag on the money line. I believe Charles is creeping closer to 200 now. Might be at 200 or like around 185, 195. But and Matthew has a size more of a sizable dog tag next to his name, and I would not be mad at anybody who's on the side of Matthew Selmsberger. That's how you say his last name in this matchup on Saturday, because I can see that dog barking. It's why I put the yellow. When I did my shit, I put green on who I feel like is good to go for Saturday night. I put yellow on, proceed with caution, and, you know, contemplate that swap out option. Red on, absolutely must stop. Absolutely must, you know, have that swap out option applied if you're thinking about betting or parlaying in any way, shape, form, or fashion. But I green lighted who I'm confident in, toss that yellow light on, you know, proceed with caution, and that red light is what it is, man. You know what I'm talking about? And that can be seen on the community wall, and this is one of the yellow lights. Proceed with caution. Because why I do believe Charles can, you know, slightly produce the better all-around body of work over the course of 15 minutes by implementing his wrestling, grappling, and, you know, just his all-around body of work to slightly edge out Matthew for, you know, unanimous decision, 2 rounds to 1. Maybe we find ourselves in a split or majority situation, but I would still say that Charles is capable of getting a nod. But with it, you know, you see how I said it. He's capable of getting a nod, which means he's very capable of getting knocked the fuck out too. Matthew can sit down on them shots. You know what I'm talking about? He does possess a bit of pop in each and every one of his individual shots. Those kicks, those inside, outside teeps up the motherfucking middle, his head kicks, his jab got a bit of pop to it, his 2 down the pipe, his hooks, his checks, I mean, his counters, everything. Matthew is no chump. He's no slouch. He's nobody's jump stop. He's very well-rounded and he's very solid. And he has been up against a better level of opposition. Shit, he's beaten the better level of opposition. We will find out on Saturday if he is in his own right the better level of opposition. You understand what I'm saying to you? I do have myself properly paired on at least one parlay already for being on the wrong side of this pick, but Charles is still the pick. I do like him to grind this one out. You know what I'm talking about? He's another one I like to bounce back from a KO TKO loss. I believe Los got him out of there with that nasty body. It was a body shot, wasn't it? It started that finish. And, you know, Damon was taken out by Montel. Damon's going to bounce back on Cody, and Charles is going to bounce back on Matthew, in my personal opinion. But it's a bit more shaky with Charles and Matthew. You know what I mean? It's a bit more shaky. That bridge is a bit more shaky. You know what I mean? Proceed with caution with crossing that motherfucker. You know what I'm talking about? Mansoor versus Dusko. Properly prepare yourself for being on the wrong side of this pick. Do not be surprised if Dusko shows up and Austin Lane's this motherfucker, man. Huh? Salsa Boy's this motherfucker, man. Is able to get his wrestling and grappling going, push this young boy up against the motherfucking cage and get him down and just fucking lay and pray and wait that he can find, you know, wait and hope that he can find an opening to put him in a compromisable position to possibly not only get his boy his first loss, because I believe he's undefeated, but give him his first loss inside the distance via submission or via ground and pound from the top position after putting him in compromisable positions and just flattening him the fuck out. You know what I'm talking about? Don't be surprised if Dusko shows up at this price tag, much like where, you know, Oral By and Razbeki was at. And he comes in here and pulls off a motherfucking, you know, a Rebecca performance, and old boy looks like Oral By on the other side. Gets split open from some elbows from the motherfucking bottom while Dusko locks up a takedown or something. Gets to looking a bit more worse for the wear and messier over the course of 15 minutes if it goes the distance. If he's not able to find the finish, what if Dusko produces the better body of work over the course of 15 minutes or finds the finish in his own right, man? I'm feeling like this could be one of those fights to fuck shit up on Saturday night. Proceed with caution, man. There's absolutely no reason at all, in any way, shape, form, or fashion, anybody should be parlaying Mansoor and RDR. This dude right here who's fighting Dusko and the dude who's fighting GM3. Y'all shouldn't be parlaying these individuals up there. UFC debutantes, man. How can you lock up 2 UFC debuters in your main plays, main bets, main parlays, in any way, shape, form, or fashion, and then be mad at the end of the motherfucking night when you can't cash them motherfuckers, man? Because one of these motherfuckers done showed up and smoked them or edged out that decision. GM3, come on, we gonna talk about that in a few minutes. I get it, RDR is dangerous. 12 submissions, 2 knockouts. Well, GM3's got 29 submissions and 6 knockouts. And the level of opposition he's been able to get them at has been a bit fucking different. You gotta watch out for these UFC debuters. I don't give a fuck how good they looked prior to coming in the UFC. You better go back and look at the level of opposition they looked that good up against. And I know some of those records for RDR, you know, they look kind of good in his resume for the individuals that he faced, but that's over there at 1. And me personally, in that division especially, it's definitely different as far as the level of opposition is considered, man. Huh? Listen, we said that when the boy Rong Zhu and them came over here with they 24, 25, and 4 and 24 and 5 records, man. I told you what Chris Padilla was going to do to him and told you what the other boy was going to do to his man. And like, them records are from over there. And with all due respect, the level of opposition from over there and over here is just fucking different. You dig me? So I don't give a fuck if you 25 and 4, if you, whatever you are. Over there, over here, you still very are much so a prospect amongst other prospects or a prospect amongst some motherfucking vets. And you need to watch yourself, man. I don't know, man. If we talking about prelim parlays, listen, I picked the boy Mansoor for what it was worth. I picked the boy Mansoor, but that was out of disrespect to Dusko. I didn't give him the respect that he deserved, man. Just because I'm not that high on him. I'm not that high on Dusko. I've never been that high on Dusko. But with that being said, I'm not that high on Dusko up against Gregory Rodriguez, up against Christian Leroy Duncan, up against some of these other individuals that Dusko has had to be up against inside the UFC octagon. I might be relatively high on Dusko in this matchup. You know what I'm talking about after the first couple minutes of this motherfucking fight kicks off, man. Who the fuck knows? I just have not been high on him up against the individuals he's been up against inside the octagon for the most part. So it was really like, man, a fade on this dude. And let's see what this old boy's capable of and if he can keep that O intact. But when you go back and you watch, you know, what he's done up against who he's done it up against, it's nowhere near comparison of the opposition that Dusko's had to be up in there against, wins and losses. You understand what I'm saying to you? So Mansoor's the pick, but nowhere near my parlay. My most confident picks be so far away from these motherfucking biggest favorites most of the times. It's fucking ridiculous, man. Because those big fucking favorites scare me, man. Because you start putting these dog tags next to individuals who have been up in the octagon up against legitimate level of opposition, whether they lost or whether they're losing or winning. They tend to show the fuck up, man, and want a bit of respect put on a fucking name just based off the fact that maybe I've been losing, winning, drawing, whatever the case may be, but it's been in this motherfucking octagon up against a whole different level of opposition than what this motherfucker's been out here getting his submissions and KOs up against. You understand what I'm saying to you? Oh, let me remind these motherfuckers of that real quick. I might have lost my last one. You know what I mean? I might be motherfucking 2 or 3 in my last 5, but that's my last 5 in the UFC, and I still got this many more inside the UFC. Let me show these motherfuckers something real quick, man. Let's see how good you are in this motherfucker up against somebody who's been in this motherfucker now half a dozen or so times, win, losing, or drawing. Because I'm fighting a different level of opposition. I'm getting prepared for a different level of opposition, and when I get in there, I'm getting hit. You know what I'm talking about? And I'm getting cane. Motherfuckers is coming at me. They just a whole different level of opposition. They different beasts. I'm having to learn on the job, but now I have that experience of doing so. So, man, fuck this motherfucker who's pricing me out at over plus 300 now, man. Yo, go drop something on me, man. I'm finna drag this one out. You gotta watch out for these cats, man. You gotta watch out for them. I took too long on that one. My bad. Mansoor is the pick, but I'm properly prepared for being on the wrong side of that shit. I got Dusko locked up, and I think 3 parlays already. No bullshit. Short legs, only a couple, only a few legs in them motherfuckers due to the price tag. But I got him locked up in something, man, because you're making your UFC debut over the he's minus 375 when I did this. He probably over minus 400 now. He's probably gonna get parlayed up crazy and be up to minus 500 come fight night, and he's making his UFC debut, y'all. I can't do it. I can't do it. Maybe he goes out there and justifies the price tag and gets it done inside the distance with quickness, makes it look vicious and brutal, and cheers to him. You know what I mean? But I gotta see it, and I don't want no parts of it in my main shit. Haymakers and Hail Marys. You know what I'm talking about? Capping off these prelims, I hope this stays right where it's at. Nicholas Dalby versus Zaleski, unless they wanted to creep it up to the main card. I hope it stays right where it's at, man. You know what I mean? And Zaleski and Dalby. Zaleski's the slight dog for what it's worth. You know what I mean? And Dalby's the slight favorite. Now, it depends on where you go. You know what I mean? Some places Dalby's 117. Some places motherfucking, you know, Zaleski's 117, leaving Dalby down to like 107, 111 or whatever the fuck it is. You know what I mean? So pretty much a pick 'em. So I like that money line because that money line does the parlays and the bets and the main plays good. And I have Nicholas Dalby taking this one, man. You know what I'm talking about? You can properly prepare yourself being on the wrong side of this pick. It's an absolute necessary swap out option if you're, you know, trying to clean sweep the prelims and all that. You know what I'm talking about? Or if you're putting it into a whole card with some of your most confident picks. It's a swap out. You know, the swap out option is necessary. I'm confident in Dalby to get it done, though. Unanimous decision, 2 rounds to 1. Wouldn't be surprised if he found the finish. You know what I'm talking about? Dalby does good against the Brazilians, man. You know what I mean? With all due respect. He does a bit, you know, more so than he doesn't. You know what I mean? If I'm not mistaken. And he gets some dangerous ones up out of there. This is, you know, part 2 to their first go at it. And I think Dalby might actually find a finish inside the distance in this one. But Dalby's still the pick, man. So, you know, it is what it is. And that's the prelims, man. Again, Melissa versus Claudia, give me the dog. Trayshawn versus Antonio, give me the dog, man. CR versus GB, I took CR, but I'm not mad at taking the dog. I should have just took the dog. We in the dog house, you know what I mean? For the sake of a pick at this level of mixed martial arts, fuck it, give me all 3 dogs. But I'm not pick switching nothing, man. It is what it is. Claudia and Antonio are the dog picks, and CR, he's a favorite. And give me Damon and Charles, both favorites. I took Mansour for what it's worth, and Dalby, which is pretty much a pick 'em, man. Properly prepared for being on the wrong side of that Mansour pick, though. As far as parlays are concerned, I don't know. I might put Mansour in one, like Hail Murray, trying to do like the whole 13 fight card on an app, or maybe like a 10 leg Hail Mary over at the motherfucking kiosk or something like that. I might toss him in one with pretty much all favorites for the most part, because I normally do that and see how that roll, you know, see how that dice lay, and it's normally one of the more significant favorites that fumbles that bag, and you'll go 9 for 10, you know what I'm talking about? Your even monies and your 1 dog or maybe 2 dogs will win, and a -3 something, 4 something will lose. That's normally how that goes, but I'll put him in anyway, and I might toss Mansour and something like that. But other than that, it would be like a prelim for the prelim clean sweep, and the swap out option would be absolutely necessary with Dusko. You know what I'm talking about? But fuck those first 3 fights, man. And I ain't gonna say fuck Mansour versus Dusko, because, you know, like I said, Dusko got about a half-dozen fights in the UFC, so fuck those first 3, though. Kicking off that main card, Jillian. She was a -265 when I did this, leaving Luana a +200. But Jillian is now like a -345 in some places, 325. You know what I'm talking about? So the dog tag next to Luana's name is a bit, you know, more significant. And it is women's MMA. I can understand if anybody just wanted to completely stay the fuck away. You know what I'm talking about? But I like Jillian to get the job done. Unanimous decision, 2 rounds to 1. Wouldn't be surprised if she found the finish inside the distance via submission or from the top position, ground and pound. You know what I'm talking about? Other than that, I just see her doing a better body of work over the course of 15 minutes, man. And this is where it gets spicy. GM3 versus RDR. GM3, when I did this, was a plus 215 dog tag on the money line to RDR's minus 280. That has significantly changed a bit in some places. Or GM3 is now a plus 250 dog tag next to his name, and RDR is over the minus 300 line. You understand what I'm saying to you? And I'm still very much so on the side. Like I said, no pick switches. I'm on the side of the dog. You know what I mean? I need that big dog tag next to GM3. When you're giving me an individual who's making his UFC debut, and while he has looked good, he has done so up against the individuals that he has done so up against, and with all due respect to the promotion of one and everywhere else he's been at, that's just not over here. You know what I'm talking about? The level of opposition in these divisions over here are just a bit different in my personal opinion. So you have to come over here and make me a believer. I don't give a fuck if you got 20 fights under your belt, 18 fights, however many fights you got under your belt. You're just a prospect over here in the octagon with an OG veteran who very much knows how to get it done. And not only that, you're a fucking UFC debuter who does his best work on the mat. Most finishes inside the distance come via submission from RDR. He has 12 of them. His other finishes inside the distance come via KO, TKO. He has 2 of them. The rest come via decision. 12 submissions, 2 TKOs inside the distance. He likes to do his best work on the mat. He finds his finishes inside the distance, on the mat with those submissions, or with those submissions in some way, shape, form, or fashion. GM3, 29 submissions and 6 knockouts. He does his best work on the mat. He finds most his finishes inside the distance via submission. But he's done that and found them at a higher level of opposition, in my personal opinion. He's found quite a few submissions over here inside the UFC octagon, quite a few finishes over here inside the UFC octagon, whether it's via submission or a KO, TKO inside the distance. He's vicious, man. He's fucking dangerous. And if you're telling me RDR's coming in here and submitting GM3, I'm rolling the dice with GM3, and we just gonna have to get spicy and play that game and see who the fuck comes out on top when they get entangled. You understand what I'm saying to you? Huh? You gonna have to show me. You gonna have to make me a believer, man. He got 29 submissions inside the distance for a fucking reason. And he has 6 KO TKOs. So he can get it done. And he has a decision. He can get it done absolutely anywhere he needs to get it done as well, as RDR has proven at the level that he's proven to be able to do it. So do it at in his own right. You understand what I'm saying to you? He's going to have to prove to me that he can do it at this level against someone like GM3 in that department, because nobody wants to go in this motherfucking UFC octagon and just, you know, willingly roll around with GM3. They don't want to do it, man. It's not something people want to do. You understand what I'm saying to you? Just get entangled with this dude and risk the submission inside the distance. It's like rolling around with Paul Craig. Like, you don't want to just go down to the ground after certain individuals when you hurt them. You just want to chop at their legs a little bit and make the ref stand them back up. You don't necessarily want to be entangled with them up against the cage playing the wrestle fuck game or the grapple game, because they might sweep you, they might toss you, they might trip you, they might just hop on your motherfucking back and backpack you. Who the fuck knows what they might do? Flying triangle shit might happen in that motherfucker. You know what I'm talking about? Come on, man. GM3 has proven to be as dangerous as he's proven to be right here inside the UFC octagon at this level. You understand what I'm saying to you? RDR still has to prove that to me. You got to prove that to me, and GM3 will be a big feather in your cap, especially if you can get him out of there inside the distance via submission. I don't necessarily know that that's the route he's going to take, but if he does, salute to him, and good luck, Scrap. You know what I'm talking about? But it is what it is, man. I'm on GM3, man. I'm on GM3 all day, every day, even on Sunday, man. Ricky versus Bernardo. Now, I wish I saw this money line before, because I'm not pick switching, but I am properly preparing myself for being on the wrong side of this motherfucking pick first and foremost. You better believe it. I get it. I get it. Sopaj is 24. Ricky's 31. There's a little bit of a youth advantage, but that youth advantage is still an individual coming into himself, where Ricky at 31 is in his prime. Very much entering his prime, has entered his prime. We are going to see Ricky in his prime. You understand what I'm saying to you? Where the other individual has not necessarily fully developed and, started to enter his prime. He's still learning. He might have another lesson learned on Saturday. Man plus 225 underdog tag next to motherfucking Ricky to Bernardo or Sopaj, however you say it's minus 295 favorite. Listen, man, you better make this thing closer to a pick'em. How we going? I'm just not high. We have one guy who debuted in the UFC, and while he, kept it competitive with Vinicius, he got clipped, disconnected from his consciousness, KO, lost. And now he's coming back as a minus 295 favorite. Why do we keep letting these individuals like Robert, we let these individuals come in, take losses, and then come back as significant favorites, and then we gonna do what? Parlay them the fuck up and be mad halfway through the main card when we can't cash the fuck out because this motherfucker fumbled the bag when we should have known better? Come the fuck on, man. You gots to be more careful. Huh? You gots to be more fucking careful, man. Listen. While he has looked good up against the level of opposition he has looked good up against. He came in against Vinicius, who was 2-0 in the UFC, and while he kept it competitive, he was going to lose that fight if he didn't get clipped and disconnected from his consciousness that night. You understand what I'm saying to you? So, with all of that being said, he lost. He looked good against who he looked good against. He came in here, he kept it competitive, but couldn't get it done. Needed to try to get the finish, couldn't get the finish, got put the fuck up out of there. That's that with that. It's a wrap. Now we bringing him back as a minus 300 favorite. Huh? Get the fuck on up out of here. When Ricky's been in there, yeah, he lost to Raul Rosas, but Raul Rosas is what? 5 or 6-1 in the UFC? You know what I'm talking about? Come on, man. And go look at the people that he beat and the people that he beat. There's only one individual on his record, the Boston Salmon kid or whatever the fuck his name is, who's got a shit resume. The rest of them are, 4-1, 5-6-1, 6-2. The individuals he's fought inside the UFC, the level of opposition he's fought, both lost and beaten inside the UFC, have been a higher level of opposition than what old boy has had to face, with the exception of Vinicius kind of, meeting him right there on that level, but beating him right there on that level. So now we're going to give him a minus 300, minus 295, just about a minus 300 favorite price tag coming back off of that loss, regardless of what the fuck Ricky's coming off of. Ricky been in the UFC, got about almost a dozen fights in the UFC. You know what I'm talking about? He's coming off of the motherfucking fight where, Raul Rosas has beat everybody else except for Christian Rodriguez. He probably beats Christian Rodriguez if he fights him again. You know what I'm talking about? Christian Rodriguez, it just is what it is. At the time, they was sicking on him and on all the little motherfucking, all the rest of the little prospects as a little prospect killer. And he was doing quite well until they matched him up with Julian. We said what was going to happen there. What happened there happened. We cashed on the right side there. I just don't necessarily know that, the individuals that Ricky's been up against, man, we should be disrespecting him with this plus 225 dog tag. I know individuals that fuck with Ricky are very much so taking advantage of it. I am, myself, going to take advantage of it, plus 225, and it's probably going to creep high, get close to plus 300 or plus 275, because they going to keep motherfucking parlaying Sopaj. Huh? You better fucking take advantage of that, man. And Sopaj, RDR, Mansoor, they better not be anywhere near your main bets and parlays. I don't give a fuck what the money line says, what it suggests, or how you fucking feel. Come on, 2 of them are making their UFC debuts, and one's coming off of getting starched in his UFC debut. How the fuck can you... parlay these motherfuckers up, and all of them are over minus 300. Mansour's over minus 400 right now, man. Motherfucker RDR's over minus 300 right now. Sopaj is probably over minus 300 right now, and everybody's just gonna want to parlay all those motherfuckers up with motherfucking Carlos and Denise Gomes or something. Come on, don't do that. Don't do it if you want and drop something on it, but you better go put some other shit together. That better not be the only motherfucking thing you do, man. Putting your whole motherfucking, rolling your whole dice, counting on a bag to come off of a minus 700 favorite, a minus 400 UFC debuter, a minus 300 UFC debuter, a minus 300 individual who just came off of getting starched in his UFC debut, and an over minus 500 female. Huh? You have nobody to blame but yourself if any of them fumbled a fucking bag on Saturday, man. God. Because I said I'm not pick switching no more, Sopaj is still the pick. But I want to switch to Ricky so bad, especially with that disrespectful price tag, man. I don't get it. I don't fucking get it. The 24-year-old youngin' looked quite fucking well up against the level of opposition he looked quite well against. Then he came up, got a taste of another level up, kept it competitive, but got starched and put the fuck up out of there. Now we're bringing him back as a minus 300 favorite. And then we have a UFC debuter going against Dusko, who's got over about a dozen fights in the UFC, but we're going to make him a dog and make the UFC debuter a now over minus 400 favorite. Then the other UFC debuter, who, yeah, he's nasty with submissions. He has 12 of them. We're going to put him in there with GM3, a UFC veteran on his UFC debut, who has 29 fucking submissions, and make him a 250 underdog and make the UFC debuter a minus 300, over minus 300 now favorite. Come on. Come on. Denise Gomes, we're going to make her an over minus 500. She was 430 when I did this. Last time I looked, she was 490 or 480. I know she's going to creep over minus 500, and that's what we're going to do in women's MMA when Carolina has proven to be a legitimate level of opposition and has proven that when you put her in there with these prospects who have steam on them, much like when they tossed her in there with Vanessa Demopoulos or tossed her in there with some of these other prospects, what did she do? Put out good numbers as far as volume is concerned, put out a beautiful body of work all around, and secured those dubs, man. She does well with a dog tag next to her name up against these prospects who have steam. Huh? Just go look at the fucking resume. The proof is right there. She does very well up against these prospects, the OGs, the Penes, at the end of it. She's taking her loss to them crafty motherfuckers and the timelines that she fought them. I believe, we've seen. I know the last performance wasn't her best performance. My mouth dry as shit. But I believe we've seen a bit of even as her being older, much like Angela Hill, in these last couple years, these last 2-3 years or whatever, we see a bit of an involvement, a bit of a change. You know what I'm talking about? A bit of a really grasping, being in that, taking a hold, being in that prime and knowing everything that I know from all these fights with all these other high-level individuals being in the UFC for so long and just using all that knowledge and securing these fucking dubs. Angela's doing it. Carolina's doing it, you know what I mean? And Angela was on the wrong side of one that I didn't believe she should believe being on the wrong side of with, Tabitha. But a win's a win, a loss a loss. It is what it is. You know what I'm talking about? And I know old girl Carolina's last performance wasn't her best performance. But listen, man. She does better more times than she doesn't up against these prospects. And if you're going to give me a plus 320, creeping up on a plus 350 dog tag next to her name in women's MMA when she's proven to be a legitimate level of opposition in her own right, I'll take it. I'll take it, man. Because if you think this isn't another test that Denise needs to pass, you're out of your fucking mind. And nothing about that money line suggests how close this fight is going to be. Highly competitive, closely contested, and if anybody edges it, it's going to be Carolina. This thing goes 15 minutes. This thing goes the distance. If anybody edges it, in my personal opinion, it's going to be Carolina, man. You know what I'm talking about? But it's women's MMA. You know what I mean? And it's one that I want absolutely nothing to do with unless we're talking about dog plays or some main card. options. You know what I'm talking about? But it is what it is, man. It is what it is, man. It is what it is, man. These fucking fights is crazy. I like Jillian. I like Jillian. I don't like her price tag, but I like her. And then you got it. You got to make me a believer, RDR, up against GM3. You know what I'm talking about? And it is what it is. I picked Sopod, so I'm staying with my pick, but I'm properly prepared for being on the wrong side of that shit with Ricky. You know what I'm talking about? Especially with that dog tag. And Carolina and Denise, nothing about Denise makes me believe she gonna go out here and be a minus 500. Look like a minus. She would have to go out here and find a finish inside the distance to justify this price tag, or just 30-27. Absolutely just beat her everywhere, edge her everywhere, in every fucking round. You know what I'm talking about? To justify these price tags, man. And I don't see that shit happening. Maybe I'm wrong. It's a, you know, another significant age difference with her being at the, end of hers at 39, very much exiting that prime, you know what I'm talking about? And old girl's still not entering hers, you know what I mean? So it is what it is, man. We gonna see. It's experience versus steam, you know what I mean? And we gonna see how this one plays out. Cody versus Miles, man. Now this is fucking 3 rounds, right? This is 3 rounds. They didn't fuck around and make this 5 rounds, did they? Fuck, I didn't check that. It's 3 rounds, right? This motherfucker better be 3 rounds because I didn't look at it for 5 rounds. Cody, he was a plus 105 underdog when I did this to Miles is minus 130. I've seen Miles around minus 175, 185 in some places. So the dog tag next to Cody's name is a bit more significant. And yeah, I just don't know, man. I mean, for me, it's Miles. I just don't know that Cody can win this fight. If it's 5 rounds, we can make a case for Cody picking shit up in the later rounds. Maybe he'll, I don't know, man. Maybe you want to lie, bet this with me. I'm on Miles, man. You know what I mean? I'll do maybe one parlay where I put Cody. Miles isn't wrapped up in all my plays, so I'll be Gucci either way. But I'll do probably 1 or 2 plays, and maybe I take Cody just because I'm a fucking degenerate. And at the end of the night, I'll be having 40, 50 tickets in my pocket. You know what I'm talking about? And they not all crazy. You know what I mean? $5, $10. It might be $6 on 6 legs because 2 or 3 of them are underdogs, but it still pays $900. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to go crazy when you start doing all your little what-ups in your plays. I put my little 50, you know what I mean? My little 50, my little 25, my little 100 down. But then I toss my little 100 and 150 in the machine and start putting all my little, 10 odds, 5 odds, 6 on 6 leg, 8 on 8 leg, 7 on 7 leg. You know what I mean? And all types of little nut shit like that, man. Prelim plays, 10 hours on this, 10 hours on that, swap out this time, you know what I mean? So I can try to obliterate the whole prelims and the whole main card, just multiple variations. Sometimes, it works out and I miss absolutely every fucking thing by 1 or 2, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes, more times than not, it works out so that I can secure the motherfucking bag on the prelims, on the main card, and somewhere for the whole card, though. That's my whole reasoning for breaking everything down. I don't want one thing to fuck up the other. You know what I mean? I don't want to be looking good on them prelims and then something just go crazy when the main card kick off and then I'm looking Gucci for the rest of the main card too. That one shit just killed me. No, that's why I do my prelims. Then I do my main cards and I do my swap outs for the prelims and my swap outs for the main cards. Then I do my whole card, you know what I mean? And I do my swap outs and all that. You feel me? And my dog plays and I just have hella motherfucking tickets in the pocket. You know what I mean? It is what it is, man. I have a couple in there with Cody, but I think Miles gets this one done. I think Miles might hurt Cody in there. You know what I'm talking about? I think he might catch Cody, drop Cody. Not necessarily clip him, disconnect him from his consciousness, but drop him. Possibly drop him and hop on him for a club and sub type situation, or drop him and hop on him, put him in a compromisable position that he survives, but ride him out for the rest of the however minutes is left in the motherfucking round. Miles is going to slow this one down. Not that Cody is necessarily a high-volume striker these days, you know what I'm saying? Or against certain levels of opposition. Like he looked great against Dominic. You know what I'm saying? You could miss me with a lot of those other wins though. You know what I'm saying? But he did look good in a couple fights. I think we've seen the best of him. I think the best of Cody is long gone. Damn, my shit caked up. I think the best from Miles is still to come. Miles is prime time Miles right now. And I think he takes this one via unanimous decision, 2 rounds to 1, possibly finding the finish inside the distance. You know what I'm talking about? Neil, old boy's about a plus 500 right now. He was a plus 475 when I did this. Los was a minus 670. Los is over minus 700 in certain places. So I'm guessing that'll put Neil like around a plus 550. You know what I'm talking about? I mean a plus 500. And in my personal opinion, I mean, I picked Los. Like I said, there's no pick switching. In my personal opinion, Neil Magny is deserving of a mandatory dog play in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Even if it's just a single leg at plus 500, and you just drop something on it. You know what I mean? A little single leg at plus 500, throw $50 on it or something like that. You know what I'm talking about? And let it go. Because if you got your other motherfucking parlays out there and you got your main plays and your confident plays locked up and all that, and you're confident in them, and you should know that regardless of that 50, if that 50 hits, it hits, and woo. If that 50 doesn't hit, you know what I'm talking about, it's coming back in your other plays that will hit. But if that 50 does hit and you had Los wrapped up in your main plays, you'll be damn happy that you put something light on that dog play or Neil. Because if you have individuals like Los and Denise, the debuter in RDR, the debuter in Mansoor, like if you have these individuals locked up in your main parlay and GM3 comes through, or Carolina grinds out a decision, Dusko grinds out a decision, finds a finish. If any of them grind out a decision to find a finish, or God forbid, Neil Magny finds a submission, you'll be glad you put something on it because it's going to bring everything everything back plus a little something that you put into all of that unnecessary price tag shit. You know what I mean? Neil is he's deserving. He might, listen, he very well may get, put up out of there quick. I think he's going to be a bit more timid and a bit more cautious in his approach, which doesn't scare me about the way Los fights, because Los isn't really a pressure, high volume. He picks his shots. He's smart. He's sharp. His IQ's sharp. You know what I'm talking about? He picks his shots. He doesn't overcommit or really take any unnecessary risks. So if Neil is being a bit cautious and patient and approaching it a little bit more cautiously and timid, I don't really necessarily think anybody's falling back on the, scorecards as far as points are concerned, shots landing and all that. You know what I'm talking about? It's when them shots start landing. When Los decides to, if Neil decides to put the gas on a little bit more and Los is able to find them openings for them counters. Or if Los gets a bit frustrated, allows the crowd to rile him up, and he starts putting the foot on the gas a little bit. Not really scared of Neil landing any significant as far as counters are concerned, but I could see, Los kind of pressuring Neil back and kind of doing Neil like Hamzat did GM3 and just kind of folding him with one shot and then coming in maybe one or two more to close the fucking curtains. You feel what I'm saying to you? But Neil's best shot, in my personal opinion, because Los picks his shots, you know what I'm talking about, doesn't overcommit and isn't a high volume striker, would be to come out there, play the range game, find your distance, implement the kicks heavy. A heavy kicking game. He has a 80-inch reach to Los's 78, 70, whatever, you know what I mean? So he's got a little 2-inch reach advantage. Not a whole lot, but still, you know what I'm talking about? And the kicks, man. Use the kicks The teep kicks, the toes right to the belly, the body kicks. You know what I'm talking about? Switch stances on this motherfucker and light him up with body kicks. Light those legs up, chop them legs down like Conor McGregor did Nate Diaz in their second fight. Just fuck the legs up. Heavy kicking game implemented. You know what I'm talking about? And just wear on him so you can get him frustrated and try to possibly overcommit into something or lunge him with something that maybe you can get under and possibly work to the back and kind of work your game. You know what I mean? But if Neil comes out there and does that, just because, you know, Los ain't a pressure fighter. Los don't normally come out applying the motherfucking pressure. He come out, you know what I'm talking about? He get his reads. He get his timing down, he get his distance, his range. He might put a couple little feelers out there, you know what I'm talking about? And he got them counters locked and loaded, ready for you while he's putting his feelers out there, but he don't start fast, man. So if Neil comes out there, starts fast at range, plays the distance game, and implements that heavy kicking game, he can get ahead on the cards. You know what I'm talking about? He can get ahead on the cards, man. Now, you get ahead on the cards, or somebody like Los who's waiting, you know, waiting for that finish, waiting for that shot, waiting for that sequence where he can, you know, string that combination together. You feel me? So where he can really lay down on them shots and get you up out of there. You can run away. You can run away with the decision on somebody like that, and then put them in a position where their corner's telling them, listen, man, we may very well be going into these motherfucking final rounds down 3 rounds to nothing, motherfucker. It's time for you to get out there and put your fucking foot on the gas, man. Apply the fucking pressure. Put him on his back foot. Make him fucking uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Start talking that shit to him. And he goes out there, you know what I mean? Maybe he's a bit too aggressive. Maybe he gets a bit reckless. And maybe Neil can, you know, continue to find success. You know what I mean? Stay safe and grind this one out to a fucking decision. I wonder what the money line is on a Neil Magny decision. I bet that shit's through the motherfucking roof. That's how he gets it done, man. That's how he gets it done. That's how he gets it done, man. Fucking around with the submissions and all that, you know, playing too much in close can be dangerous if you don't have him down on the ground and you're not in dominant position. Playing around in close, you know, clinch worthy, you know what I'm talking about? That's dangerous because Los will hit you with something little 6 incher, you know what I mean? Something short. Bop, bop, bop. You know what I'm talking about? Hit you with the uppercut, come with the fucking left and the right and just put your fucking lights out. You don't want to be in close with him. He's dangerous, you know what I'm talking about? So you got to implement that all-around body of work. But since he's so dangerous and he kind of waits for them shots, he likes to counter you. You know, you can get ahead on the scorecards, but you have to stay safe. And you have to implement a kick-heavy game, in my personal opinion, for the frames that they have. Neil can do that. You know what I mean? Neil can do that. They're both long and lanky. Neil just a bit more, you know what I'm talking about? And he has that couple inches on the reach. Just work that jab, a clean jab. Just keep the clean jab out there and keep fucking those legs up. I mean, fucking those legs up. Hitting that body with the teeps right up there, right over the belt, right above the fucking belly button with the toes. Just boom, boom. And I'm talking about boom, boom, hit that jab, boom, hit that, boom, boom, whop, hit them legs, whop, whoop, just that jab, poke the jab out. Every time that motherfucker look like he want to do something, poke that jab out. Maybe poke, double the jab up with the 2, you know, and bop, bop, bing, and just fuck them legs up. Switch stances, boom, and throw them body kicks. Boom, and throw that, boop, boop. Just throw them jabs out lightly, though. Keep them at bay. Keep your hands closed. We don't want no motherfucking eye pokes. You know what I mean? We want this thing clean. It's that jab out there. Put that jab out there. Double up on it. Throw it to them. Back to them legs. Back to them legs. Back to that body. Back to them legs. Back that jab up. Back that jab up. Back to them legs. Back to that body. Pick this motherfucker apart. Chop this motherfucker down, man. Make this motherfucker worse for the wear every motherfucking minute of the round. You know what I'm talking about? That's what you gotta do to a motherfucker like this, man. You gotta take that fucking fight out of him. Huh? You gotta take that fucking win from him. You gotta take that steam from him. Huh? You gotta take it, man. You gotta take it. Cause these motherfuckers from that camp, they got steam. They got steam long like train smoke. Huh? Right now, man, they come into the octagon with steam long like train smoke, motherfucker. Everybody's on them. Everybody's on them, man. Neil know that shit. Neil, know that shit. Neil, I hope you know you needed what you need to do to get this one done. Play that distance game, man. You can do it. You can do it. Play that range game and implement a kick-heavy game. Just fuck them legs up. Inside, outside, calf kicks, teep kicks, bellies right over the belly, toes right over the belly button. Just boom, plant them things. Boom, plant them things. Boom, make that motherfucker pay every fucking time, and then double up on the jab. Stick the jab out there. Stick the 1-2 out there. Double up, and, you know what I mean? Throw the 2 down the pipe every now and again, but fuck them legs up. Switch stances and fuck that body up, because I know Neil can switch stances. Switch stances and fuck that body up. Switch back and fuck that body up. If this motherfucker stand, switch, boom, and plow that fucking body. I'm trying to tell you, dig them toes above that belly button, man. Fuck his midsection up. Fuck his legs up. Oblique kick that. Do that disrespectful Khalil Roundtree shit. Back this motherfucker up. Slow this motherfucker down. Keep that danger at bay. Play the range game. Use that distance. Boy, if he wins a decision, everybody would lose their motherfucking mind. On top of a lot of they change. Boy, oh boy. It's mandatory. He might get knocked the fuck out. Michael Morales got him out of there quick. Michael Malak couldn't do this shit, but Michael Morales got him out of there quick. Maybe Los gets him out of there even quicker. You know what I'm talking about? But watch out. Watch out. What if he won that motherfucker by decision? Boy, I'm hoping and wishing, ain't I? What if he won that? I'm going to check that line, and whatever it is, it's getting a motherfucking sprinkle. Just based off of, I know he can play that game. I know he can play that game. I know he can keep Los at range. And I know if he implements a kick-heavy game and fucks him up with the teeps and fucks him up with the body kicks, fucks him up with the calves, the inside, the outside, just tears those legs apart while working the jab and the 1-2 and just keeping it very technical and precise, man, he can get himself creep right on ahead. Creep right on ahead. And, you know, if need be necessary, if you feel like you need to edge something out or you feel like, you know, you just might be able to get the better of them, you can attempt the grappling and wrestling sequence to try to look for the submission, man. But that's a bit dangerous getting in close. That phone booth ain't where you want to be with Los, that 1 foot inside that motherfucking rubber tire while his foot's in that 1 foot's in that tire and y'all motherfuckers is just, that ain't where you want to be with Los. You gonna crumble the fuck up in there. You know what I'm talking about? The durability. While it has not ever really been top flight, it definitely ain't top flight now, Craig. You know what I'm talking about? Fuck out of here. Neil need to stay safe, man. But if Neil stays safe, Neil could win a decision. You know what I mean? Because this is in Las Vegas. This is in the Apex. This is not in Brazil anywhere or anywhere else special. It's in the Apex. It's in a smaller cage, so it will be a bit harder to play the distance game and keep them at range. You understand what I'm saying to you? But there should be, outside of the steam Los has on him, you match that with the veteran status Neil has, there should be no favoritism on these cards. Boy, if this thing goes 25 minutes, man. Because if it goes 25 minutes, that means Los was unable to find a finish inside the distance. And what did the 25 minutes look like, if that's the case? You know what I'm talking about? It is what it is, man. We ready to touch over 60 minutes, so I'm fit to slide up out of here. The next time y'all see me, it's going to be for these prelim, main card, whole card, dog plays, all favorites, swap out, options, haymakers, Hail Marys, and all that good shit as far as the parlays video is concerned. You know what I'm talking about? It is what it is. Properly prepared for being on the wrong side of some of these picks, but give me Claudia, give me Antonio, give me CR over GB, give me Demond, give me Charles, Mansour over Dusko and Nicholas. Give me Jillian, GM3 with a big dog tag. Give me Bernardo for what it's worth, because that's what my pick was. Give me Carolina over Denise, Miles, and give me Los, man. But, you know, tread fucking lightly. A majority of these fights are not going to look like what the money line suggests. they might look like. You understand what I'm saying to you? Some of this shit might be reversed. Motherfuckers will lose their mind if GM3 wins via submission and Carolina wins via split decision and Neil Magny wins via unanimous decision. What? Oh my God, motherfuckers would lose their shit. You know what else would fuck people up? Ricky. Tread lightly, man. Tread lightly. That Ricky, I don't know, Tercios, or however you say Ricky's name. Ricky might come in here and out-volume Bernardo. 1.5, maybe 2-1 on the strikes while mixing in. They both like to mix in an all-around body of work, but Ricky does possess, I believe, like a 5.5 or 6.5 inch reach advantage in this matchup. And like I said, I know there's an age discrepancy with Sopaj being 24, but he's still coming into himself, man. While Ricky at 31 has very much entered his prime, you feel me? And he's got that physical attribute of having that, 6-inch reach advantage on the motherfucking feet. I believe he possesses the speed advantage on the feet. Sopaj probably possesses the power advantage on the feet, but Ricky possesses the speed advantage on the feet. The reach, significant reach advantage on the feet. The height advantage works into the kicking game on the feet. I would probably, I don't know, man. I might give him the wrestling and grappling advantage in this matchup. If anything, it's neck and neck, and those longer limbs will probably very much so come into play into his advantage. You understand what I'm saying to you? And he has the advantage of being in there beating and losing to the higher level of opposition than that of anything that Vinicius is, than Sopaj has fought other than his UFC debut when he lost to Vinicius, you know what I mean? Tread lightly on this card, man. Tread fucking lightly, because this motherfucker will be one of those nights that you either cash a significant bag. I'm talking about boy, oh boy. Or you mad. And you had nobody else but yourself to be mad at, because in my personal opinion, you'll be mad over one of these significant favorites, or one of these significant favorites that is also a UFC debuter. One of these UFC significance that is also in the main event, or one of these significance is also a UFC women's MMA match. You know what I'm talking about? Don't let these things be the things that cost you the bag. You know what I mean? Find who you like on them prelims. And, you can put something together. I like Damon Blackshear. I like Nicholas Dalby. They come together at a plus number. And when I toss in Charles, they come together at a plus money number. And if I want to swap out that for Matthew, that's a plus money number. If you wanted to swap for, like, you can fuck with these 3 fights where, you can have a bit more confidence because you're not dealing with, low level UFC debuting or second time in the UFC debuting after your first showing didn't go that well type shit. You know what I'm talking about? Individuals that you got a little bit of, history with. You seen they body of work. You watch they fucking fights from both sides. You know how they get down. You know how they give it up. You know how they scrap. You know what kind of fight it's going to be, one way or the other. So you can fuck with the overs, fuck with the unders, find a prop you like. You understand what I'm saying to you? And lock in on them 3 fights, man. And then you can go ahead and work on your prelim clean sweep and include some of these other ridiculous fights. Then you come up to the main card, man, and you find who you like, man. I like Miles. I like Jillian. You know what I'm talking about? And then I start working off of them, man, because I like GM3. That's a mandatory dog play, though. That can be a single play at 250, 275, and so can Carolina at 350, 375, as well as Neil at 550, 500, 550. They can be single dog plays, don't have to be wrapped up into nothing. Or I can take my Miles and Jillian and toss a Neil, toss a play in with Neil on it. Miles and Jillian, and toss a play in with Carolina on it. To beef that 550 to something crazy. To beef that 350 to something crazier. You know what I'm talking about? And then, you can try your whole whole card shit. I mean, your whole, try to sweep the whole main card and include these crazy price tags and use some swap out options. And then once you've done that, take who you like. Like me, I take Miles and Jillian, and I like motherfucking Dolby and Demond. You know what I'm talking about? And I take them four, and they come at a number. But then I take them four, and I start adding legs to it and swap out options and shit like that. But I'm taking individuals that I know, man. Bodies of work that I've seen produce. I've seen them in the fight. I've seen them up against it. Whether it's adversity, I know how they deal with it. I know how they deal with the wrestle heavy approach, a kick heavy, a strike heavy approach. Like, I know how they deal with certain levels of opposition and certain competition is coming at them certain ways. I know how Jillian does that. I know how Miles and Cody do that. I know how Nicholas and Zaleski and Damon and motherfucking Cody do that. You know what I'm talking about? I know how Selmsberger do that, and I somewhat know what Charles has been able to do. That's why that's in the fucking yellow for me. You know what I'm talking about? But these other ones, come on, man. We don't know nothing about what these individuals are able to do at this level of opposition in any way, shape, form, or fashion for us to be arguing their statistics or overly committing to any of these individuals in our motherfucking main bets, main plays, or main parlays in any way, shape, form, or fashion. You understand what I'm saying to you, man? I hate seeing motherfuckers talking about while I'm tapped in live for the fights and motherfuckers talking about, man, I'm dead after that, man. That killed my whole... Huh? Why? No. When these prelims are over, we should be talking about what we secured. I mean, or what? That just killed me on the prelims, but I'm still live for the main card, man. You know what I'm talking about? And as long as, you know, boop, boop, boop go right, I got a little whole card parlay, you know what I mean, couple whole card parlays in too, and then I still got like a dog, you know what I mean, boop. Like, that's how it should be. It shouldn't be, oh, that just killed me for the whole shit. Huh? We not even at the prelim headliner, and all your parlays are gone. So you just didn't have anything for the main card. Everything was just relying on these UFC debuters or whoever you had on the prelims and whoever you had on the main card. And if none of that shit, all of that shit didn't come together, then you was just chopped. Man, fuck that. I hate seeing that, man. Put your prelim parlays in. Strictly for the prelims. Nobody on the main card. Strictly on the prelims. Then put your main card parlays strictly on the main card. It's only 6 fights. Work with them 6 fights. If it's 7 down here, you work with these 7 fights on the prelims. Then you work with them 6 fights on the main card. Then you take the 13 fights and you find who you really like from both sides and you put them together and you start doing your 1-2 and getting spicy, mixing, mingling, and boop bow bit. You know what I'm talking about? But don't just put it all on one thing and think, man, that's how it's going down. That's how it's going down. Oh boy, 6-0. He been smoking jokers, starching jokers. It is what it is. He's gonna smoke this joker and starch this joker. You know what I mean? Fuck that. Lock him up. Oh, she's a -470. Carolina. Oh, Carolina, she ain't look too good in her last fight. Well, go check the last 3 fights before that last fight against those prospects. Man, the fuck is wrong with you? Huh? And just check the rest of her fucking resume. The level of opposition is different. I know the age difference, but the age difference, you have to look, it's a double-edged sword when it's that significant. When one's in their low 20s and one's in the mid to high 30s, well, one is in their prime, has entered their prime, if they in the low 30s, is in that prime, or is at that, exiting their prime. That one down here in them low 20s, they're nowhere fucking near it. They're nowhere near it. I don't give a fuck what you say. They're nowhere near it. They have a lot of learning and a lot of experience before they're in their fucking prime, man. That's why when you get to hitting around 29 and 31, in my personal opinion, it's when you hitting into your prime because you've been in there. You've been in there. Even if you've been just winning, you've faced higher levels of opposition. You've faced adversity. You've had to work through things. You know what I'm talking about? Like, lessons are being learned. You're being formed. You know what I'm talking about? You're adding tools, constantly adding tools. You're evolving. You understand what I'm saying to you? Not to say that you stop evolving when you enter your prime. That's what keeps you in your prime. You understand what I'm saying to you? But he got a lot of learning to do. This kid ain't fitting to come in here and just run through motherfucker. No. So let's not act like that's what he's going to do and price this individual at minus 300 and parlay him until he's almost minus 400, and then he's disappointed like a motherfucker, and we all ready to break the goddamn TV because he fumbled the fucking bag and Ricky Torsos submitted him, or Ricky Torsos outvolumed him 2-1 and took him down, 4 out of 7 when he only took him down, 2 out of 5, and Ricky just did the better body of work absolutely everywhere because he's been in there with the higher level of opposition. No matter how you look at it. Like, we can't be mad when these things happen. We can't be mad when these things happen, man. We set these young boys up for failure when we put him in here as a significant favorite after he just got slumped, man. You just got slumped, man. I don't give a fuck what just happened to Ricky, man. Ricky been in here, winning and losing. Came through the house. You understand what I'm saying to you? It's been different for him. You know what I'm talking about? So, these price tags are crazy, man. They crazy. I ranted. It is what it is. You know what I mean? My bad. I just don't like when motherfuckers fumble a whole bag. They main play was locked up. You got to find who you like on the prelims. Then you got to find who you like on the main card. Then you can take them and lock them together and then sprinkle everything else. You know what I mean? Like, you can't lock it all in one zone, man. I mean, you know what I'm talking about? You can't just have it because one will fumble the bag or everything will be looking good up until the last fight of the night, or the second to the last fight of the night, the co-main event or something like that, and then somebody fumbles the bag. And it's like, fuck, that was everything. No. If everything up until then, if you had like an 8-legger in and 5 of them was on the prelims, why didn't you lock those 5 legs in on the prelims and put 25 or 50 on them, bare minimum, even if you didn't want to overcommit, at least a little quarter or half a man on them motherfuckers, and then attach your 3 legs from the main card and toss what you're going to toss on there? Don't tell me that 5 motherfuckers secured the bag on the prelims, but you didn't lock them the fuck in because you had this 8-legger right here. Or you had 6 right here. 3 of them, 3 or 4 did the thing down there, and then you was counting on the motherfucking co-main and main up here or something. And one of them fumbled the bag, and now everything's going. Nah, man, because them individuals down there should have already secured you a bag on the prelims when they were over. You should have had that money back. You know what I'm talking about? And some. So you're walking into the main card up already. You know what I'm talking about? It is what it is, man. Or if somebody fumbled on the prelims, at least you walking into the main card with multiple parlays still on the board. That's just how I go about it, though, man. You know what I mean? They parlays. I can't see overly invested and overly committing to one joint when I can put a nice little something on that one joint, but then put all these other multiple variations of things then on the prelims and the main card and for the whole card to secure my back door and to make sure I'm straight and able to secure the bag in some way, shape, form, or fashion. You know what I mean? Because if you're that highly confident in your main joint, cashing and securing the bag, taking another little yard, a little man, you know what I'm talking about, a little $100, and sprinkling it on nothing but prelim plays, main card plays, and different kinds of whole card plays, haymakers, and Hail Marys shouldn't bother you because you already know you got bread coming back off that main play. You built like that. You know what I mean? It shouldn't bother you to do all the extra shit I'm talking about doing anyway. You know what I mean? That's how I attack these motherfuckers, and that's how I'm able to, more times than not, secure a bag in some way, shape, form, or fashion, man. But that's that with that. I'll tap back in with the parlays. I appreciate y'all for tapping in. Peace and blessings.